Hi and welcome back to Jim Builds, and today I need to get the starter motor in on the engine and see whether it actually fits where I think it will, because we've gone from the driving side over to the passenger side. What I want to make sure is that I've got plenty of room for the starter motor, it's not going to clash with the exhaust, everything works together. But another big change that I want to make is to use the working 1500 engine rather than stump block, because I want to make sure that once the starter motor works, that I can actually start running the engine, and so we can test the clutch and a few other bits and pieces. It's pretty exciting because these two have never been together, so it'd be good to see. But before I do that, I'm going to put the sump on that I made a couple of episodes ago, because I want to test the rear oil seal on that. And yeah, so let's get on with that and see where we get to. To make it a bit more interesting, I thought I'd leave the engine hanging whilst I put the sump on. It's going to be a massive mistake, but I haven't got the space to put the engine stand up. But we'll get it done. Right, so now I've got the sump on. Fitment's been pretty good. It's a bit tight on the back here, but I think it's sealed. And then this is the oil seal from SKF. It's an R23, so hard to show you, but we've got two lips. So one on the right here, smaller one, and then we've got this bigger one here, which is going to do most of the work. So that will go on like this and seal the thing up. So let's get that tapped in. So this is the time I should actually be outside putting the engine in, and I will do in a minute, but I got a bit distracted because I found this old manifold that I've made a long time ago to put bike carbs on the old Cortina, so thought I'd fire it on, see whether it's actually worth pursuing, which I think I will, but let's have a look. So I started this back in 2015, but the work was done by a friend of mine, but I've never actually run them. The carbs are from a Phaser 600, and they're Mk1's, but they need a proper clean and a scrub before I do anything. But we'll come back to that later. I will clean this soon, but for now, let's get the engine in.
Disgusting!
So it's a bit dark under here, and I am sorry. But what I've managed to do over time, so originally the battery lived up here. I'll show you a better picture of one. But I've moved the battery to the boot because it was quite rusty, and I also wanted to put a bigger engine in. I haven't, but I wanted to, so, you know, thought that counts. But like I say, the battery cable runs through the car, comes out here, and then it was tucked nicely in a small gap underneath the steering box that's here. I'll show you from above in a minute when I've done this. But what I've managed to do is wedge it. That thing is stuck. It's properly pinched, and the only way I can do that is by dropping the steering box or removing that bolt, loosening that one and removing the one above, so I can pivot the steering box enough to free the cable. Because what we can then do is run the starter motor to here. Hang on. Here, the solenoid. Just about make it out where my hand is. I think I'm going to rotate that one more, or two more. Just put it in a bit of free air somewhere around. Oh, you can't see that at all. About there, where my fingers are. Anyway, steering box. Let's do that. Fix that problem first, and then I can put the steering box back on. It won't affect the tracking. I've done it loads of times. Right, loosened it off. He says. Well, it wiggled anyway. I feel like I'm rescuing something. Right, that's out, that's free. All I need to do now is put that back together and get underneath. Well, that wasn't meant to happen. So I've been plugging away at it, and it's a bit messy, I know, but the wiring is done. I've just extended the starter wire and the main ignition wire. If this works, I can then tidy it up. I'll leave the cabling, as I've said there. I'll bring it along the bulkhead, neaten it all up so it's all properly wrapped and whatever else. I have checked, the starter motor can be taken out with the exhaust in place. It's not the easiest, but it can be done. All that's left to do now, get in there and turn the key. There's a bit of a grinding sound. That's because the starter pinion looks to be rubbing on the casing. I need to remove a little bit more. If I get that out, I think it'll spin a bit quicker and a bit smoother. Let's have a look at it. Alright, I've shaved all that off. I've gone to test it again. And the next problem is, I think we are ever so slightly off. Only a slight amount. Now, because the pinion here, if I get my torch straight, isn't retracting. So that means there's a slight misalignment. So the starter motor probably needs moving out slightly. Problem is they are drilled and tapped. And to fix that, I need to have a look at this a bit further. I think quite a bit of stuff's got to come off. But there's other jobs I need to do underneath here before I do all that. Since I've got it all sat here currently, I might as well get all this correct. And then come back to the starter motor, which is a bit annoying. But that's life, I suppose. So I've had a bit of an investigation, and it's looking like the pinion on the starter motor is catching the flywheel but not releasing. Bit annoying. I've spent a bit of time trying to see whether I can get it to work, and I've struggled. Bit annoying really, but you know, these things happen. I've got it down to two possibilities. First one is that when I made the plate originally, there was enough flex in that 1.5mm plate that the pinion would actually just ping off and it was fine. So I thought I got it right. The second theory is that I did get it right, and when I've gone to transfer it across, I've got one of the holes ever so slightly out, and the starter motor now won't disengage once it's got the engine turning, which is a bit annoying. Or the third option, it was both, but we'll have to see. I think I'm going to leave this one here because I need to have a bit of a think about it. What we might end up doing is going back to stump block with the gearbox out, do it on the bench and figure this thing out properly, because doing it under the car is, I haven't got enough room to figure out where it is and what I've gone wrong with. But I hope you've enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll have something more successful to show you next time. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and stay safe. Thanks for watching.